We are live, baby. We're doing it live. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope everybody's having a good Monday, starting out the week. Sorry I missed the show this morning. There's some kind of like flu or something going around, man. And it's got me kind of like effed in the A. It sucks. I am not enjoying this whatsoever. I'm literally like effed in the A. It was coming out the back and the front today. That sucked. But we're trying to power through this show. May not be as long a one, but thankfully I am joined again by my lovely wife, Kimberly. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, I know that we talked about it, but I guess we can talk about it in front of everybody again. You had a pretty good Monday, right? Pretty easy day.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing too crazy happened.
Nope. Always a blessing.
Yeah, it is a blessing, man. Whenever you can kind of just have like a normal day and not have to like worry about anything, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I was
That's
worried about
always
you, of
super dope.
course, but other than that, it was.
I know, but with the diabetes, you're fucking worried about me
I am.
every day.
I am. I'm always paranoid.
I'd be all right though, baby. We keep on trucking. Just like this show, and the show tonight, man, we got a great show for everybody. But before we get into that, I do want to give a shout out to everybody across all platforms, man. On YouTube with the views, I love it, guys. Y'all are killing it, especially the shorts, man. The shorts do crazy on YouTube. Like thank y'all so much. Y'all are the best. I love you guys so much. TikTok, we've been gaining more subs. We're on that 1,000 sub goal train, just chewing right along.
Less than 500 now.
Yeah, shit, we're at like 400 almost.
I know.
So it's not bad. Thank y'all so much, man. Like it's crazy. Like I just see it growing I just continuously see it grow, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe it. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a true blessing, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all of y'all. I enjoy doing this. This is fun. I enjoy just sitting here riffing with my wife, which in fact you can thank her for this podcast, because she was always just like, why don't you just start like podcasting? Since you can talk about so many things.
And you know about so much different things,
Yeah, but I'm kind of like that idiot that knows a little bit about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know like a lot about like one thing. I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, but no expert on a bunch. But I would like to have, more guests on the show that are experts.
Yeah, just to pick their brain.
Yeah, pick their brain for real. For real. But again, thank y'all so much for everything across all platforms, even the Rumbles. Like Rumble's even growing, and that's crazy to me since even bigger channels have a hard time maintaining even like a third of their audience on Rumble. And we're still seeing growth there. We're still seeing views, subs, rumbles, or upvotes, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. To me, they're just likes.
Yeah.
So hey, thank y'all so much. And if y'all want to go check it out, we are on all platforms. We should be the SamaRoshi, except for Spotify that says the SamaRoshi Podcast. If y'all want to go check out the other socials, TikTok, I like posting like game clips on there. I think that's kind of like, like the general sense of like what we want. And when I say we, I mean my wife and I want, as far as like this podcast, we want to go into like theories and thinking outside the box and getting to know, like different ways of life, different ways of thinking, different ways to look at other situations and things like that. Kind of break out of the norm. And then also too with the TikTok, I do like to post a lot of gameplay because to me, video games are fun and it's a way to escape the norm of everyday mundane life. And you can go into these fantasy worlds and do fantastic things that you couldn't do anywhere else. So it's really fun to me. And if y'all like seeing cool clips like that and everything, give TikTok a check. We got some crazy games on there. Of course, we got the top tiers. We got the Call of Duty, the Fortnite. We got all that. No Apex though. I'm not a fan of Apex. We got some Halo. We got like other games. We got like Rumbleverse, Mortal Kombat, Zelda, Batman.
Lego.
Yeah, Lego. Lego was fun, man. Lego Star Wars was so fun.
It was just cool being able to see like all of the iconic scenes from the movie in like Lego form, and then get to go in and look at it all.
Yeah, that was super dope, and I really really like that. I just wish that like I know they added more to that game.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, well, those were those
That's right.
trailers that I showed you.
Yeah.
Where it was like the different things, and I was like, oh hey, look at this, they added more to that game, and you were like, oh for real? And yeah, it was like a while later, like a couple months later,
Yeah.
to where I wasn't even gonna download the game or install it, because I had to uninstall because of the memory space. That one takes up a lot of memory, because I was wanting to play. I think I was playing Batman Arkham Knight at the time, and I couldn't have that game and Arkham Knight with like my other stuff on the computer at the same time. It's the little sacrifices you got to make, man.
Yeah. Have you made some sacrifices right now?
I have.
Games.
I have had to make a few sacrifices with some games, but I'm also questioning some games that I continue to play. Am I playing them out of just blind loyalty?
What game is that?
That game is talks for another podcast.
Oh, okay.
That I want to do. But yeah, I definitely will get into that in another podcast, because yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me getting older too. Maybe like, I don't know. I like chilling out, just playing some games,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna do a podcast on it. It's gonna be dope.
All right.
It's gonna be dope. But getting on with the show tonight, like the title says, man. Now, this is all just speculation and theory, and just really some late night talk and thought, if you want to put it that way, that me and my wife kind of have, and we'll riff on it, right? Like while we're going through all this, and still share our views and what we're thinking. But us both, we're both faithful. We're to each other and to the Lord. We are both trying to be disciples. We don't want to label ourselves as like a Catholic or a Christian or Methodist or Baptist. Like I'm a child of God, and I'm trying to be one of his disciples.
Right. Exactly.
So yes, we were both baptized Catholic, and so are our children. And our church is a Catholic church that we go to. But really, it's not really the religion that draws me so much to this church. It's the community.
Definitely the community.
Definitely the community is like the biggest part of it. And in that community, you just feel his presence like so much.
Yeah, the love that they have and that they give out, you really can. You feel how his presence there in the community, and the sense of what he really wanted us to be like when we went to a church.
Yeah, it really does. It really does feel like it's like, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to be with your brothers and sisters.
Right.
This is it. Like it's crazy, because we had to go, I was born here, but we had to go to the other side of the country to find our Garden of Eden.
Yeah. Sure did. We definitely did find it here.
Yeah, we did. And I love it. But with that being said, we do believe in God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. And now I know even those names will trigger some people, because they'll be like, oh, his name is Ahaya. No, his name is Yeshua HaMashiach. His name is Yahweh. You can't say his name. You can only spell it. YHWH. Okay, man. He invented wordy words and language, and he lets them be out there. So I don't really think I'm hurting anybody. And I really think that Jesus, Yahweh, Yeshua HaMashiach, Haya, I believe that he is smart enough to know who I'm talking about
Right.
whenever I'm talking about one of them.
Yep. He knows in our heart who it is that we are talking to whenever we're addressing them.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's another debate for another day, you know. But trying to stay on topic as best as possible. No, it's me. I keep deviating, you know. You know me, sometimes I'll just get going on this stuff with the way like people think and everything, and it's like, come on, dude, like wake up. But hopefully this will help shed some light as well, and we can open up some eyes. So, like we said, we believe in the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, and God. We're just gonna call them that. If you prefer to call them your native language or however you see fit in Old Aramaic or Old Hebrew, go for it. Just know we're talking about the same dude.
Right.
So anyway, with that, we do believe in the story of the Bible. Do we understand that it was written by man and it's been managed by man and it's been sifted through by man? Yes. Do we understand that there are flaws to the Bible? Yes, of course. It's done by man and maintained by man. So we're sinful by nature, and we're just born to fuck up. So to think that we wouldn't do that too with this, again, talk to your doctor about that helmet. But and do we understand that a lot of it, especially from the Old Testament in the beginning of Genesis, was a lot of it pretty much like the game of telephone, stories and legends and tales told over dining tables, fires and parties. Yeah, probably. But further on down the line, no, we had like documentation,
Actual
everything
proof.
like that. There's actual records. We're finding the Dead Sea Scrolls to be the biggest piece of evidence that helps like really just shut people down with like, oh, the it's like, come on, dude. There's more like some of the biblical stuff that people want to argue about. There's more historical evidence of that than shit they teach you in history books.
Yes, but yeah, we believe that so wholeheartedly.
Yeah, but like, yeah, you take that like blindedly. They're just running into battle. That's what it is. You know, that's the answer. Nothing else.
Yeah.
And with that, we know that even the Bible, there's probably flaws with it. So we like to take ideas from, I like to listen to my brothers and sisters and like listening to their experiences. I like talking to people and picking their brains and listening to what they have to say, you know? So of course I love it whenever like mainstream scientists, and I guess you could say he's also like a celebutite, like he's famous for being himself, you know, but he is an archaeologist and a scientist, so he's not like a Kardashian. But he is, as far as like being famous, he's famous for being Graham Hancock.
Right.
You know.
For his works.
Right,
you know?
the works that he's doing and everything.
Right.
But, you know, it's not like he's an actor or a musician, anything. This is a real dude who's got a real degrees and everything like that. And it is a shame, because if y'all want to go and listen to him on other podcasts and everything like that, I would strongly recommend it, because he does talk quite a bit about like what he has gone through personally through the science and history and archaeology, like I don't know, like community, you know, guild, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They're like silencing him, dude. They, like he said, like they've locked him out of his fucking, well, his Wikipedia, wasn't it? Wasn't his Wikipedia they said they locked him out of? And he can't, yeah, because he can't even go in and edit it.
Yeah.
He can't even do anything with it. Like he's just, and it's his Wikipedia. It's like, what the fuck?
And then isn't that something like anybody's supposed to be able to do?
Yeah, like anybody can go in and do it, but he can't. He can't do it to his own. Like That should tell you everything. That should tell you everything right there.
That
You
is
know?
crazy.
But anyway, so when people have kind of outside the box thinking, but then it's backed up by, like, real findings, real facts, real shit, I tend to want to, like, listen to them, because like I've said, for anybody that says I know, stay the fuck away from them, because they are trying to sell you something. They are nothing more than a snake oil salesman, you know? So, with all that tying in with God and Graham Hancock, we do believe in the story of the Bible. Like, I believe that there were once an Adam and an Eve, Like, do I think that those were their names? No, because Adam comes from the Hebrew word Adam or Atam or something like that. And it means man, you know? So Adam was just another name for man and woman, But I thoroughly believe it was like that in a Garden of Eden. And it may have been, Adam and Eve
Right.
could
Something
have
very
meant
close to it.
man and woman. There were men and women in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, because like they could have had like such a unique language that we have never even discovered before.
Right.
We have no
Right.
idea.
And that's why I love dudes like Graham Hancock, because he's like finding shit out, dude.
Right.
Like, and they're trying to shut him up, and it sucks. Like, what? Like, anybody that tries to silence any information, I'm like, you're a monster.
Yeah.
You're a monster. Like,
Yeah.
straight up.
Especially if he's uncovering things that is like going along with what we have read in the Bible, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like proving it.
Yeah, it's
in
like
a
putting
way.
like validation and putting
Right.
some substance to it.
It's like that's stuff
giving it a foundation.
you would think that that's something that would be like, oh my goodness, like look, everybody, let's like dig and let's like get like more information on this and like learn as much as possible as like a whole. Cause
You would think, but
yeah,
it's really hard to control smart people.
right.
Informed people are hard to control. Ignorant people are super easy to control. And it sucks. But our Father even warned us of that, that we had to be good shepherds, because he knew that there's a lot of sheep out there. So you got to be a good shepherd, And I believe that Graham Hancock is a good shepherd. He's doing good works. He's not hurting anybody. The only thing that he is doing is making you think differently.
Yeah.
Like, if that hurts you, again, go to the doctor, check on that helmet thing. Like, check it out.
It's kind of like he's taking God out of the box that we've all put him in.
Right.
It's like he's making you think of different ways and get out of that box, even if it's just for a little bit. Just open your mind, expand it, see maybe a new possibility of how things may be.
Yeah, exactly, man. Because this is just going back to prove that we don't know everything, man. Like, for us to sit here and be like, yeah, like this is it. This is the absolute. Like, that's the exact things that God told us to look out for. He was like, yeah, anybody that deals in absolutes, kind of like Star Wars, that's the Sith.
Right.
That is sin. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, hold on, it could be something. Because really, like, Jesus's teachings, if he came back today, a lot of people would be confused with the way that he spoke.
Right.
They'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, you could never get a straight answer from him.
Yeah, and then even back then, Brown, he even told them,
yeah, you're not going to understand this.
Yeah, this isn't for you. You're not going to understand.
You are not going to get this at all, and no matter how long you think on it, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
But I'm speaking for somebody that is going to, but they're not here yet.
Yeah, and in today's time, it kind of is where we're like, oh, this is what that probably meant whenever Jesus said that, and it could be, maybe it's our ego just wanting it to be relevant for ourselves. That's possible.
A lot of it is pride and ego.
Right.
A lot of it is pride and ego.
Right. It is, but it is like I feel like our understanding of the things that he talked about is more advanced. We do understand more of what he was saying, and the concept of it all.
And we're really in this like super prime time right now where we have all this great technology. We have all this artificial intelligence. We have scans. We have like rendering models that can recreate things in 3D. I mean, they took the Shroud of Turin and recreated Jesus.
Oh, and it was
It's
beautiful.
crazy. Like it gave me like it's giving me like chills going down my back, you know?
Mhm.
Like it's just crazy looking at it. And they've actually been able to sculpt most of what his wounds were.
Right.
And you see him in his head, everything. It's crazy.
Do you remember
The
what
tech.
the video was that we just saw that?
Yeah, it was on
This-
like I think it was BBC. I think it was that British broadcasting thing in London.
Yeah, probably because that
Because it's in Italy, isn't it? Isn't that where they said it was? It's in Italy.
I think so. Because it was very interesting. If people can go find that video,
Yeah, if y'all want to go check that out, there's a
hopefully we can find it, and once the live posts, we can maybe post it. And
if once I do post this one, I will do that. Just help remind me of that, baby.
yeah,
I'll post the YouTube link of the video that shows the recreation of Jesus that they use the Shroud of Turin from. Because man, it is crazy, and it's like whoa. And when you look at it, you kind of get that feeling like I've seen that face before.
you do.
Like
It's
I've
so
seen that before.
familiar.
It's weird. It's very familiar when you look at it. You're like, I've seen that before,
It's like you see it, and you're like,
and you
oh,
can't explain
yeah,
it.
that's Jesus. Yeah, yeah. And then you kind of get that sense too, where it's like, especially if you come at it with an open mind and
Mm-hmm.
do truly
Mm-hmm.
and search and yearn for his face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you see it, it's like kind of like breathtaking. Because also seeing the wounds on him as well, it's like, oh my God, he went through all that for me, like
Mm-hmm.
for me and
Mhm.
everybody else. But you got to think of it like you're special to him.
Yeah.
You individually, he did that for you.
Yeah, you as an individual person
Yeah.
living your life and your reality, he did that for you, whether you love him or not. He didn't care.
Mhm.
He don't care because he hates to see you in pain, and he wants you to be saved when you're ready.
Right.
He wants to give you that ace up your sleeve.
And even those who say that he was just a mortar or whatever.
Oh, a mortal.
No, like a martyr.
Oh yeah, a martyr.
Sorry,
yeah,
I said
he
it
was
wrong.
just- but he wasn't like a god, but he was just more
Right.
like a martyr dying for God.
Yeah, but then even like you look at that and you know what he actually went through and what he stood for, and you still have to have such like
Like admiration and respect for him.
exactly.
Because it's like this was a 1,000% innocent man that took one of the worst beatings and punishments in history
For you to
for no reason, whatsoever.
just because he wanted you to love one another and to be
Yep.
kind.
Just hey everybody, be nice and just tell you I love you. Get over here, I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. You
like
know?
the worst possible, like in history.
But again, he was just in there shaking the tree of the establishment. That's what he came here and did.
Right.
And that's what people like Graham Hancock are doing. They're shaking that establishment up, and they fucking hate it.
Oh yeah.
Because like I got the maps pulled up right now with like what we're gonna get into. Because with what Graham Hancock has found with and please forgive me, I have no idea how to say these
Right.
freaking words. With Gobekli Tepe, and then with Bankuklu Tarla, and then the way that kind of just adds the way it looks on the map where they found these civilizations, and then where they have quote unquote found the Noah's Ark. The way it's all laid out on the map, and then its locations, it just starts to make more sense, and it starts to connect more dots, and it starts to kind of fill in those gaps that especially the original scrolls in Genesis have. Because like to me, it kind of feels like like you can totally tell that Genesis is like a game of telephone, and like over the like even like just the Bible period, game of telephone, campfire stories, all that shit up until about like Abraham. And then like, he was getting land, he was getting family, censuses were being taken, documentation was coming down, that feels more concrete and substantial, like there's real validity into that. And Genesis to me has always kind of felt like it was just like stories told in the air. It was just stories floating through the air. We no longer had the concrete evidence to it. And things like Gobekli Tepe and hold on, I got to reference the green notebook, the handy dandy green. Bankuklu Tarla kind of like solidifies that, you know? Because they talk about a over 12,000 years ago with Gobekli Tepe, dated at over 12,000 years ago. Someone can quote me in the comments or the chat the exact date, but it talks of a cataclysm, a catastrophe that happened, you know? And then they found that Bankuklu Tarla or whatever, and it's even older, and it talks of the same thing. Like, it's fucking crazy.
And they both look similar too, kind of in their structure. It's kind of like similar in a way.
Yeah, there's definitely remnants of one influencing each other. And like we were talking about yesterday, whenever we were going over the podcast and everything, Kim and I were talking about how if you go and you look up Gobekli Tepe, there is a perfect it was a perfect pyramid or triangle like shape between like these center points of like those like structures that they had built. And we were saying, you know, this is before the Egyptian pyramids and everything. So what if Gobekli Tepe and Tarla were the blueprint, the 2D foundation of what they were trying to do, what the Egyptians eventually built.
Right.
You know? And then that gets me thinking even further, well, what do pyramids have to do with God? You know? Because even people that go on, you know, psychedelic trips, like with DMT or ayahuasca or something, they will talk about just seeing these crazy pyramids and geometrical shapes and patterns that go on for infinity. So what does that have to do with God? What are we not being taught? What is being suppressed from us, or what has been forgotten or destroyed?
Right. They like to keep a lot of stuff from us, so
They like to keep a lot from us.
And there is something about triangles. We all know that. Let's not play like we're crazy. There's something about triangles.
Let's not even
angles.
play. Come on now.
Right. Geometrical shapes. There's something to that.
Yep.
So, you know, having the shape of even these two places and the way that they're shaped, because they're in a circular type of shape.
One of them in Gobekli Tepe, they had that big round circular
in the middle.
What looked like the remnants of like a temple.
Right.
Because I remember whenever they were first uncovering Gobekli Tepe, they thought that might have just been it. Like it was just that round deal. And this might have been just like a place of like congregation.
Yeah.
But then they found all those like settlements and huts and tools. And even in Bankuklu Tarla, they found over 130 skeletons. Over 130 skeletons. And that's what we're getting into is we think, especially the beginning of Genesis, is it's not all there, man. It's not all there. So the first thing that I want to show everybody is where they believe they have found Noah's Ark, okay? Everybody listening on Spotify, I'm sorry. I don't really know how to help you. Just know that we are in the Turkey region, and all this does span and swoop over from about from about the edge of Turkey towards Armenia down towards the Mediterranean, right there in that like little bay pocket. If you look it up,
and you can Google it with literally just looking up Noah's Ark National Park Turkey,
and it pulls it up.
So I was like,
So we see where Noah's Ark is. Let me go ahead and switch to the podcast media for everybody, so everybody can see what we're talking about. So this is where they believe it's a theory that this is where Noah's Ark touched down, as in the Bible, everything like that. Also, the Euphrates, where was that at? Yeah, here's the Euphrates. Okay. So the Euphrates River as well is about like right here. And we'll get into more of that as well. Euphrates River is all throughout here. So we also have to remember that back in the day, like back whenever Adam and Eve and Noah and all that stuff, all of this over here in this area, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Turkey, Lebanon, Georgia, it was all like paradise on earth. It was beautiful. It was nice. It was nice looking. It was God's land of milk and honey. That's why it was said so. And so if you keep that in mind, Euphrates over that way. So we can assume, in theory, that the Garden of Eden was probably in Turkey somewhere. Now I know there's been other claims that it was in Iraq, that it was in Iran. Don't really think it went much further than that. I mean, it could have went to it could have been in Afghanistan as well. And in the boat, they just kind of floated that way. But I doubt it. To me, I've always felt like it was over. The Garden of Eden was over in this area. Maybe from central Turkey to Iraq. It could have been anywhere in that area. Okay?
Why?
Now, this is where...
That's where it gets crazy.
This is where we got to get into it a little bit, guys. This is where we got to put the tinfoil hats on.
Just go with it.
And just kind of think outside the box for a sec. Let's get out of our boxes that we've created for ourselves and have put God in. And let's bust the walls down and let's think outside of it for a second, okay? And hopefully this will spark more people's interest into Bankuklu and Gobekli Tepe. And I hope that this encourages people to go back and look into the Old Testament and look into the story of Genesis and try to make these connections. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a better relationship with God. And you'll understand more. And your personal relationship with Him will have grown and strengthened. I pray that that happens through all of this. So let's get into the weird stuff. So let's pretend that it's over there. So in Genesis, it says that they were put out and the angel was put at the east gate. Okay, remember that, east. So if we're looking at this map right here, that'd be to the right. Okay, so that's anything going like that. Pow, 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 pow. Okay, just going. Look. Don't be doing that. Don't fucking do this right now, Google. Why are you doing this to me?
They're so touchy.
They are. They're so touchy. They're so touchy-feely. Well, let's say all right, let's just indulge my theory for a second, guys. Okay? For a second. Okay?
All right, what you got?
So let's say that the Garden of Eden is somewhere over here in Turkey. Right, kind of close to the thing that we're going to show everybody, because it's almost like God created this sanctuary, and it's like we kept trying to go back to it, like we were called to it almost, like we just couldn't find it, like it was destroyed in some cataclysm, like a worldwide flood. Maybe. So anyway, they get kicked out to the east. They're like, shit. And they, there's other texts of them standing in rivers and praying, Eve getting tricked by the devil again. For the love of God, Eve. For the love of God, Eve. For the love of God. And other things like that. So, and then it was like it was kind of like a valley, a wasteland, like all this stuff. Okay? Kind of sounds like the basin of some mountains. And maybe the mountain's just so rich and has so much stuff, it sucks everything from the valley, like all life from it. Any water, anything, it just takes it. So let's pretend that that's what's happening.
Right.
Let's pretend for a second.
Okay.
So they're over here, and then they kind of, hey, here's a nice mountain. Because if you got out and you were kind of like in like a valley that you could see for a long time, like some of the texts describe with Adam and Eve, you would have saw the mountains
in the
in the
distance.
back. And you would have been like, well, we know that like mountains are associated with God, life, protection. We go to the mountain, we're safe. Maybe we'll find another Garden of Eden.
Right.
You know? So they go to the mountain, do their thing, have their kids. You know, Cain and Abel. Cain kills Abel. Cain goes off. Got Seth. All that stuff. It's all good. They're chilling. And then Noah and his family are born. And they're living around here somewhere. Maybe in Georgia. Maybe. But then God lets them know that the earth is going to flood. Hey, it's going to flood. You know, build you a boat. And am I doubting that Noah didn't know how to build that boat? Fuck no. I think that Noah was the world's first mason.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope. But I just have a very hard time believing that in all of the world, God did not have mercy on his children.
Right.
And you mean, and then also, oh, God would have had mercy on them. It was them. So you mean to tell me every single person in the world was thinking against Noah and against God? Every single person.
We really think that less of people too?
Yes. We really think that less of our brothers and sisters. Is that really the way that Jesus wants us to be?
Right. And I know in the Bible it says how they were like animalistic or, they were turning on each other.
Right. And were there people like that in that area? Yes. Because we have people like that today.
Exactly.
But does that mean that I'm like that? No, I'm not at all.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're like that?
Not at all.
Not at all. And probably 99% of our viewers that are watching, you're not like that at all either.
Right.
So that would be like lumping all of us in the same category as being like, nah, they were unsavable. They didn't want to be saved. I have a very hard time wrapping my head around that. I don't know, man. I don't really believe that. Also too, like the tales of Gilgamesh, who's to say that Noah and Gilgamesh didn't both build a boat?
And how in all of the religions,
there's a flood and people survive. There's Native American tales. There's Central. There's Southern American tales of this giant flood. So we can assume that, yeah, like there was a huge flood in the earth that like covered everything for weeks and months at a time for this span of time. We can assume that, yeah, that's real. That happened.
That happened. Definitely.
That happened. But it's just, we're still being left in the dark. We're still being left in the dark because obviously, where they found Noah's Ark. Because now I want everybody to remember this area on the map. I'll zoom way out so you can see, like we're in Turkey. We're on the far east side of it. We are on the border with Iran. Okay, right over here. Alrighty. So we're gonna get rid of that search one, and then we're gonna do Tarla. Okay. So this is the civilization that is older than Göbekli Tepe. Now remember, right up here on the border is where the national forest is. Okay?
Of where they found, or where they suspect to have found Noah's Ark.
Suspect to have found Noah's Ark. Yes. It's all speculation and theory. Remember that, folks. But if you look at that, and then you look at Tarla, well, to me, it looks like they made it on top of a mountain. You can't really live on the top of a mountain. There's no vegetation. Water runs downhill. You got to go to the water. And here's a nice little deal of fresh water right here. Probably walked down, found this, kept moving along, and thought, hey, this is probably a nice area to set up our civilization. Okay?
Because it's also, if these watering holes as well, the land back in the day had these same watering holes.
Right, right.
It
Same
is
terrain and everything.
Right.
As far as that.
Yeah, and that is positioned in between two watering holes, but also far enough away for if any kind of animals that may have been in the area was going to that water hole for drinking water, they're so far if it was fresh water. Because again, I don't know if that was
Right.
seawater,
That
salt
could be
water.
salt water.
Right. So that may have been a drinking water for some animals that they were avoid, so they stayed away from it, but close enough to where they can use it still as a watering source, maybe.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to look at it, babe. Yeah, that's probably why they did do it that way. And then it looks like over here there's some other watering sources as well.
Yeah, because in Batman, up there, it looks like a pretty heavy watering source as well.
Yep. So yeah, that was probably just a nice area to be in. And like I say, it was different as far as like the vegetation and everything and the climate. But I assume that the mountains and the valleys and everything, the terrain hasn't changed that much.
Because of what the structures and stuff was actually built out of
what they were built out of and what they referenced, what they saw.
Right.
Because in Tarla, they draw or carve pictures of animals like lions and tigers and foxes. And they're on these pillars. And it's like that in Göbekli Tepe too. Yeah, and in detail. So remember, these people didn't have Facebook or computers or even family pictures to pass around to get for reference.
Yeah, they didn't have school textbooks to learn about this stuff.
They drew what they saw. So they were seeing animals like that. It can't be desert and everything, barren wastelands. So it has to be a little vegetative. And I would think that even Noah and his family would go to a nice spot that they could start civilization over again.
And then also you got to think that there is just a huge flood that's now fertilized the ground and watered it intensely for a good while. So things are growing.
Should have been forever.
Right. But things are growing back there, even if it wasn't there before the flood.
Mm-hmm.
It's there now, and maybe it's not there now.
Yeah, I wonder how many new plant species we got from like the
flood, right?
Yeah.
From
like how many old ones died that we'll never see again? But like how many new ones did we get?
Well, because like that one place, I know, I'm sorry if I'm getting off topic, but that one place that was found inside that cave or that whatever.
Oh, that sinkhole that was like a cave in Asia, and it had all those like prehistoric plants in it and everything. Yeah,
that could have been untouched from the flood because it was inside there.
Maybe. Dude, that's crazy. I want to go see that shit.
Yeah, that's cool.
That'd be crazy. But like, yeah, like they would have picked a nice spot with vegetation and everything. They would have picked somewhere nice. So remember that town, Batman, because that's going to be an easy reference for this, okay? So what I'm thinking so far is that Noah, there was more people than just Noah and his family and their wives. There was more people than that. Probably close to like 50 or 60. Because they were able to find over 130 skeletal bones. So I'm pretty sure that after they got done with that horrible cataclysmic thing, they were like, we need to get to repopulate.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like everybody doubled their family size very quickly.
And plus they were on that boat in close quarters for a good long time. No telling how many Noah's Ark babies there was.
Right. But anyway, I think that Noah and them all, whenever they touched down in the mountains, they came down and they created Bankuklu Tarla. I really believe that because even the Bible talks about how Noah and his family started. They restarted the world.
Exactly. So they rebuilt a civilization.
That's what they were doing at Tarla. That's all the facts that point to it right now. So that goes to show that there was more than just Noah on the ark. So what else are we not being told? And that's why I love this outside of the box thinking, because it's like, yes, what we have been told is obviously not true. It's obviously not, because there are other facts and other details directly in front of our face. And if we chose to ignore them, we would be choosing ignorance. And I'm just not doing that. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Ask the questions.
Yeah, I love asking questions. I love getting answers. So, and then we'll look at Göbekli Tepe, the granddaddy that started it all. Remember Batman? Well, right around here is Tarla, and then right up here is the Ark area. So it looks like they probably were coming down, saw the big body of water, went around it. Like you were saying, Kim, probably realized that too many big animals came around and used it as like a freshwater deal. So they were like, all right, we need to back off of it a little bit, but we do need it for fishing and huge water transportation and maybe even irrigation for their farms and everything. Cause we're still digging stuff up with all this stuff. We're still constantly digging shit up, you know? So maybe they did that, built Tarla, you know, and then like the Bible says that his boys went off in the different directions, you know? But what if they didn't separate? They just went on to start their own. Because even Göbekli Tepe shows a foundation and then something built on top of that and then something built on top of that. You know, his boys probably left and built that after Noah died. And then his sons stayed there and built on top of it. And then they branched out.
Yeah, because didn't it say that some of the stone or like some of the structures, you can tell that some were older than other parts of it, that was newer than some of it.
Yeah, they were older and they were using, and then they have different stones as well. So that just goes to show that and they're harder stones to work with. So that just goes to show that they were getting better at their craft.
And the tools.
Yeah, and the tools. But they were already using pretty advanced shit and working with pretty hard rocks to work with even today. And they were sculpting pictures. Like that's like I'm saying, man, they're like Genesis is history that we will probably never get back, and we need God to teach it to us. You know? That's probably when I do go to that beautiful place in the other dimension, the land of Elohim, I will more than likely be spending the first part of my eternity learning true Genesis.
And just all this stuff that's been covered and shielded from us, like not necessarily stuff that's on Earth, you know, like like all that stuff, but like you said, like our history, our true history, like what really happened with anything, you know, with
every like how like in the garden, was it two people, Adam and Eve, or are we talking Adam and Eve people? Are we talking people?
Yeah.
You know? Cuz even science can trace back DNA back to one woman and one man, and it's in the upper Eastern African area. Now, how valid that is and how much of the science is true, I don't know. But it is a good theory and a good thing to think about.
Yeah, because it does kind of, you know, go along with what we've always been told, that we all come from Adam and Eve, made out of, you know, the dirt and everything here.
And northeastern Africa is just south of central and eastern Turkey, where I was saying the Garden of Eden was from. So I might have my y axis off a little bit. You know, might need to adjust it. And I'm cool with that. I'm all about with the flow, baby. Go with the flow. Make the adjustments that you got to make.
But then also, like, they were here because it's like, someone might look at that and be like, that's a vast, like, area to travel in someone's lifetime, you know?
Right.
But we also have to remember, like, how much we have traveled as people in our lifetime, like, you as a person.
Yeah.
And they lived hundreds of years longer than we did. According to the text. Now, if they read that, if they measured their times differently and it was still a normal lifespan, I don't know.
Which that's like looking to be more of the case.
Right.
You know, they just measured it, I believe, like years to them, or like a few, like weeks, 6 weeks, something like that was like a year to them. Or like a season, like a harvesting season was kind of like a year to them, you know, and then you can get two harvests out of a year, 2 years in 1 year.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's other things that explain it a lot better than I choose to. Because I have my own theories on that. I really do believe that some people might have I do believe that people lived a lot longer in ancient days than we live today. Um, that's another podcast I'd like to get into. There's like quite a few shows that I want to get going like so much because there's this theory that there used to be this thin ice sheet around the earth in the atmosphere, and it just stayed up there with like the pressure and everything, and it shielded us from the radiation and gamma and everything that we get from the sun, and that in turn made vegetation more dense, more lively, better for you, and it made everything just healthier, and we were healthier overall. And these scientists that have this theory say that this thin ice sheet was broken or dissolved or destroyed, whatever they choose to believe at the time, a little over 12,000 years ago. Kind of like adding up with what we were talking about tonight. Huh. I don't know. That's why I like looking at all this stuff, and I like things coming to light, because then things start getting connected. You know, I really do believe that Graham Hancock is doing good works, and I think that he is connecting pieces of God's puzzle that have been lost to us for a long time. And I really respect the fact that he's doing all the work that he is doing, and he's getting all the criticism that he's getting, and he's still continuing to press on every day and do the work.
Trying to get what he believes may be truth and get it out there so people can even just think. Just open your mind, expand it.
Yeah, just get out of the box, get out of the routine, you know?
Of the ABC, this is what I was told in school, so this is what it is.
Yep. Yeah, just go along. Don't think, bro. Just do, bro. Don't think, man.
Let your government do it.
Yeah, let the government think for you, dude. They know better, bro. Anybody that thinks like that, stay the fuck away from them. Please. Please. I will always encourage you to think. I'll encourage you to challenge my theories.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
It's like, fuck, man, if I'm wrong, I want to know what's right.
Uh-huh.
That's all I'm doing.
That's why it's a theory.
Yeah, that's all we're doing with this. Just riffing back and forth, bouncing, coming up with shit.
I know in a few weeks we might have a different theory about it all.
Yeah, some more information may come to light that totally just scuffs what we were talking about.
I know, especially over in Turkey. More and more it does seem like it's just like popping up and being discovered over there.
Yeah, being unearthed. They're just digging up so much, man. They're finding so much.
They really are.
It's crazy, because I think like we were a lot more advanced than we're being told. I think we knew a lot more than we were being told. And a heavy influence of our knowledge and everything were the fallen ones, and they can't admit that, because then they can't admit God, because then they lose control.
Yep.
And they lose power. Whenever you find out that you can take care of your spirit because you do live on, and if you live through him, he will take you to paradise, well, then they've lost you. It's gone. Nothing they can do will hurt you.
No, not because.
And that scares the fuck out of them.
Nothing they can do will hurt you.
No, it won't at the end of the day, everybody. Just remember that. They can only kill your body. Just remember that. But I do believe that more people were on the boat than just Noah and his family. I believe that they touched down. They went down to Tarla and created it and passed on ancient knowledge, because there's things at Tarla as well that match up with constellations and everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then at Göbekli Tepe, it
Same
heavily
thing.
does.
Yep.
So that clearly shows at Tarla that we were smart enough to be organized, to come up with a conscious community thought and agree to pass it on. And we did in Göbekli Tepe. And then not only did we retain it, but we built on it, literally.
Yeah, and there's proof of it, that we literally built on it to keep telling more of what happened. And wasn't there also more in there where there was a warning or something?
Yeah, it was like a
that it could possibly happen again, maybe.
Yeah, like we could people in the year 2000 look out, because something could be coming again. And it was like, it's like some crane or something like that, or a stork or crow. I don't know.
That they drew.
Yeah, that they carved into one of the pillars. But in Pillar 43, if you don't know what Pillar 43 is, I highly recommend that you go look into it. Because I don't want to sit here and feed you and feed you and feed you and persuade you on all this information. You know,
Yeah.
I just want to present some facts and give my thoughts on it. I really do believe that God made Noah into a shepherd, and he went and rallied all the people in his area that would help him with this boat, that believed in God, that wanted to build this community, that didn't want to live in bestiality, that didn't want to live in sin, that didn't want to live by these satanic ways that the community as a whole was wanting to do. So I thoroughly believe that him and probably about 60 people built this fucking boat over this span of time, got in with all the animals around them, survived, you know? And then they landed, went down, built Tarla, and then the next generation of kids that were with them on the boat and born afterwards went on to build Gobeglio Tepe. And then that was built on. And from there, like I said, it's all campfires. So what could have been what they were talking about as like Noah's sons, Noah's generations went and scattered north, south, east, and west. Not his physical sons.
Yeah, like one went
Like
one
one
way.
went this way, one went the other way, one went the other way, one went the other way. You know, his generation, his sons for eons to come went out and spread from north, south, east, and west. And if you look where Gobeglio Tepe is on the map, to the north a little bit, northwest, you got Greece, you got Rome, you got Italy, a lot. To the south, you got the Arabias, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, all that. To the west, you have Egypt, Africa's, Ethiopia, where a lot of the rest of the Bible's Old Testament history derives from. All those areas.
And we
Egypt.
definitely know all that's true.
Yep, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran.
Heavy history there.
Heavy history there. Heavy history.
Heavy documented.
Greece, Italy, all that stuff. Very, very heavily documented there. And yeah, if you start matching up old things with Genesis and these findings with Gobeglio Tepe and Tarla, it all kind of starts to make sense. Like these were the missing puzzle pieces that we've been looking for. No?
It's like, oh, they traveled down this way and they did this, and then they lost some people right here. They lost 130 people at least, you know, because I'm sure it grew even larger than that. It wasn't that 130 people wasn't the only amount of people that were living there, you know. That was just the amount of people that died while they were
died there. Yeah,
you know?
while they were there.
And then then also they could have been there for a few years or, you know, however long, a few decades, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the water from the flood was starting to subside, and that area just cannot sustain that green lush area.
Maybe
after the flood and the water had completely dried up the land, so they kept going down to try and find more green lush. They were kind of like following the green land.
Yep, probably, dude. That's probably what heavily influenced their
to keep going down the mountain
as the water receded.
Yeah,
they kept just following the shoreline.
Right.
You know.
Right.
That makes a lot more sense. Holy fuck. I don't know, dude. You kind of just blew my mind a little bit right there, dude. But that is probably going to do it for the show, everybody. We've been going on for a good hour. Oh, and he joined the chat. Yeah, it is incredible that every religion does have a great flood story.
Yeah, for real.
Even Native American culture has a great flood story. Two nations on complete opposite ends of the earth have a great flood story at the same time. Crazy. It's crazy. But that is going to do it. Let us know down in the comments and everything for everybody watching after we post. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think that that Gobeglio Tepe and Tarla are going to help connect some dots in old ancient history that we've been looking for? Or do you think this just might be a pseudoscience? We don't know. Only
Could be.
time will tell. I hope that everybody enjoyed the cast tonight. Tomorrow, if I'm feeling good enough, man, if I don't have my head buried in the well, my ass buried in the
Oh
toilet
God.
and my head buried in the puke bucket, if I'm not like that this morning or tomorrow morning, then I will for sure be doing a 9:30 a.m. podcast. It'll be a solo cast tomorrow. And I just really like cranking these out, especially like right now, like the morning shows. I know it's just my jabroni ass, and I'm sorry.
But that's when a lot of news comes out, and
Yeah, that, and then that's also whenever I'm the least busy with
yeah.
my like this time in the winter is whenever I'm least busy with my job. Especially right now in December. Like December and January is like just like non-movement, you know. So it is nice, and it lets me take on my side projects, but then also be able to do this. So tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. if I'm feeling good enough, I'm gonna be here, man. Just make sure you ring the bells, do whatever you got to do, because they just try and shut people up nowadays. But that's gonna do it. I hope everybody liked it. Leave our comments down, or leave your comments down below of what you thought of our show. And again, thank you all for the likes, the views, the comments, the shares, the interaction, the subs. You guys are the best. I love you. We both love you. You're the best. We got the best audience in the world. I swear to God, we do. They're the best. They're dope. And we just need y'all to do one thing for us, though.
No, what is that? What is that?
All right.
I have no idea.
I'm going to tell them. Because there are some new people watching, and they got to know.
Okay. So what is it?
Tell you real quick. I just need you to stay sexy. Just stay sexy. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. You're the best. Best audience ever. Best fucking audience in the world. Best audience. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.